Hey and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's begin with our daily news. Journalist says 23-year-old Arsenal player's contract situation is very strange right now. Arsenal winger Reiss Nelson could be set to leave the club this week with a new contract still not signed. The Athletic journalist James McNicholas was speaking about the situation on the Arsecast podcast. The transfer window is already in full swing, with the clubs across the Premier League already confirming deals. Arsenal have yet to confirm any deals, although a couple of players appear close to moving to the Emirates. The other deadline that's approaching is the end of many players' contract. Plenty of players become free transfers on July 1st and will be able to move wherever they please. One player whose contract at Arsenal is about to expire is Reiss Nelson. There's been plenty of talk about a new deal being agreed between the club and the player. However, nothing has been announced yet, and other clubs may be preparing contract offers for the winger. Speaking about the English youngster, McNicholas said, it would be an unusual for them to allow Nelson's contract to lapse. We understand that it's sort of agreed broadly in principle, but it's not impossible that it could happen that way. Interestingly, at Man United, you have got a situation with David De Gea where his contract also ends on June 30. It's possible that if Nelson and Arsenal effectively have an agreement and it's what he wants and it's what the club wants, that they could say, well, enjoy your holiday, we'll do it next week. But it would be unusual. I have been slightly surprised all along that Reiss has been so keen to stay at Arsenal. If Nelson is in no rush to decide his future, he could join Arsenal for a pre-season while thinking about his next contract. AC Milan have been linked with Nelson, and it will be interesting to see what decision he ends up making. Brilliant 27-year-old now in talks to leave Arsenal after offer is made. Rob Holding is in talks to leave Arsenal on loan this summer, with Besiktas leading the race to sign the Gunners centre-back in the transfer window. That's according to a report from the Daily Express, which suggests that the 27-year-old could yet decide to leave Arsenal permanently after falling down the pecking order. It would not surprise Arsenal fans to see Rob Holding move on in this window. The Englishman played a peripheral role for much of last season, and his only run in the team coincided with the Gunners starting to lose their grip on the title race. In fairness, Holding did not play too badly in that run, and he hardly made a raft of mistakes, but the gulf between William Saliba and the other defenders on the club's books arguably became apparent while the Frenchman was injured. And with Arsenal now pursuing Yerry and Timber, the door appears to be open for Holding to leave. According to the Daily Express, he is discussing a loan move to Besiktas. It's noted that he could yet leave the Emirates on a permanent basis, but it certainly seems that there is a good chance that the defender, who Mikel Arteta has previously labelled brilliant, will be leaving in this window. It's probably a good move for all parties. Holding has been a very decent servant for Arsenal, but he has never been able to take that next step and establish himself as a key name on the team sheet. Holding will not want to watch the peak years of his career pass him by, so you would imagine that he will be open to considering his options. Arsenal had now told phenomenal £30 million players' representatives to find him a new club. Arsenal have informed the representatives of Folarin Balogun to find the striker a new club this summer, with a number of Premier League sides eyeing a move for the youngster. That's according to a report from 90 Minute, which suggests that the 21-year-old has rejected another contract offer from the Gunners following the end of his loan spell with Rams. There has been a question mark over the future of Folarin Balogun for some time. Unfortunately, he is knocking on the door at the Emirates at a time when Arsenal are back amongst the elite in the Premier League. 90 Minute reports that Arsenal had potentially hoped to loan Balogun out again next year, but he has no desire to leave again temporarily. And having rejected a new deal, Arsenal have now told his representatives to try and find Balogun a new club. According to 90 Minute, There has been contact from several Premier League sides, including Everton, West Ham, Fulham, Crystal Palace, and Brentford. Arsenal want a fee in excess of £30 million for the USA international player, so it remains to be seen whether any of his admirers are willing to pay that sort of amount for the youngster. It could be a really good piece of business for Arsenal. Yes, Balogun has been prolific in France, but Alexander Lacazette was also amongst the top goal scorers in League One, and he hardly set the world alight in the Premier League. His loan spell with Middlesbrough also proved to be underwhelming, and he has only featured twice in the Premier League in his career. He is a phenomenal talent, but given how hard it's going to be to keep him happy at Arsenal, it may be a lot more beneficial to cash in the summer while his stock is so high. Arsenal now eyeing midfielder with a strong physical prowess as Rice alternative. Arsenal are keeping an eye on potential alternatives to Declan Rice and have reportedly got their eyes on Monaco midfielder Youssef Fofana. The Gunners are still pressing ahead with their bid to sign Rice, but with Manchester City lurking and West Ham yet to agree to a sale, Arsenal need to have other players to turn to roads. And according to L'Equipe, Fofana is one of the players being eyed up by Arsenal at the moment. According to L'Equipe, the situation at Monaco, they remain without a manager, could see a number of players moved on this summer. One of those players is Fofana, who the French club apparently value at around the £30 million mark. That sort of money means he comes in 3 times cheaper than Rice, who West Ham are looking to fetch north of £100 million for. Of course, Fofana might not be in the same class as Rice just yet, but he is a player of high quality and is already into double figures in terms of caps for France. Previously scouted by Liverpool, Fofana is said to be famed for his physical prowess over in France and can dominate midfield duels. Whether or not he'd fill the void left by Rice not signing, though, remains to be seen. There is no point in putting all your eggs in one basket, and it seems like Arsenal are at least keeping other players in mind as they pursue Rice. Gunners fans will be hoping that Declan Rice does indeed join. If he doesn't after all this time, it will feel so deflating for the club. But Fofana is a good player in his own right as well. You don't play for this current French side without having a bit about you, and Fofana is certainly a player of quality. Man City are willing to sell incredible £26 million star to Arsenal this summer. Journalist Dean Jones has insisted that Arsenal are interested in signing Joao Cancelo this summer, while Manchester City have absolutely no issue letting him join a Premier League rival. Jones was speaking on chasing the transfer about the future of the Portuguese following the end of his loan spell with Bayern München. It seems highly likely that Joao Cancelo will leave Manchester City this summer. Report from Sport previously claimed that Pep Guardiola's men are all ready to let Cancelo go, and it has previously been claimed that Arsenal want to spend no more than £26 million on Cancelo. The links have largely gone quiet in more recent times, but Jones has suggested that the Gunners continue to keep Cancelo on their radar. He said, "Absolutely, they have their eye on this. Arteta knows where to go shopping when he wants to level up the levels of his own squad, and Cancelo at Manchester City is the perfect place for him to pick up a great talent, ready to leave, and Man City are willing to let him go to another Premier League club. People constantly keep questioning whether they are going to keep doing this. Man City don't care what other teams do. They believe that they are the best. They believe that if they are willing to let a player go, then it doesn't matter where they go, they will have a better plan in store." You would think that Manchester City would have reservations about letting Cancelo join Arsenal. For much of the last campaign, the decisions to let Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko go looked set to come back and haunt Guardiola, and Cancelo has previously been an incredible performer for City. But City became a machine in the latter stages of last season, and they did it without Cancelo. The scary thing is that they look set to improve further in the transfer market, so you can understand why letting Cancelo move elsewhere in the Premier League simply does not worry them. Fantastic player has just verbally agreed to sign a 5-year contract with Arsenal. Ajax defender Jurriën Timber has reportedly verbally agreed to sign a 5-year contract with Arsenal ahead of his proposed switch to North London. That's according to the Evening Standard, which reports that sources in Holland claim Timber has agreed to a move to the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal looks set to back Mikel Arteta this summer as they close in on a deal to sign Kai Havertz from Chelsea, while they are also attempting to land Declan Rice over the likes of Manchester City. The Gunners will be bidding to go one better next season after missing out on the Premier League title last time out. Arteta battled with a lack of options in defense towards the back end of the campaign, and Arsenal are trying to land Timber to add some quality depth to the squad. Indeed, journalist Bennett Jacobs claimed just yesterday that Arsenal's latest offer for the 22-year-old is worth around £40 million. Now, it seems that Timber has already agreed personal terms with the Gunners as they bid to thrash out a deal with Ajax. The Evening Standard claims Timber has attracted interest from top European clubs, but is keen to play under Arteta, and sources in Holland claim he has already verbally agreed to sign a 5-year contract with Arsenal. Timber has been labelled a fantastic talent after impressing in Holland over the past couple of seasons. The Dutchman has mainly operated at centre-back for Ajax, but can also play at right-back. Of course, Arsenal struggled without William Saliba towards the end of the last season, as Rob Holding stepped into the side for a lengthy spell of games. Jakub Kiwior did impress after replacing Holding, but the Polish international would be more comfortable on the left-hand side of a centre-back pairing. Timber has proven to be comfortable on both sides of a centre-back pairing and would be an excellent addition to Arteta's squad. He seems keen on a move to North London, and it will be intriguing to see if Arsenal can thrash out a deal with Ajax over the coming days. Clubs starting to get annoyed after developments. Arsenal are acutely aware. West Ham United are beginning to get annoyed with Arsenal due to their pursuit of Declan Rice. A report from 90 Minute has provided more details on the ongoing saga surrounding the 24-year-old's future. West Ham have already shown this summer that they are not going to be pushed around this summer. They have already rejected 2 bids from Arsenal for Declan Rice and Manchester City's first approach. Pep Guardiola's side entering the race for Rice is likely to accelerate Arsenal's next bid. Arsenal will know that West Ham are already annoyed by their first 2 bids for Rice. The Hammers have been clear throughout negotiations that they want £100 million for the midfielder. Arsenal and Manchester City have tried to negotiate, but West Ham are refusing to budge. Now, the Gunners will know they need to be careful to avoid really upsetting West Ham. The report from 90 Minute states that Arsenal are expected to return to the negotiating with a third offer and are acutely aware that West Ham have been left frustrated by the bids they have received so far. Arsenal reportedly aren't too concerned about Manchester City's effort to sign Rice. The 24-year-old prefers a move to the Emirates this summer, and so it just comes down to discussions between West Ham and Arsenal going well. David Moyes' side are in a real position of strength right now. Ideally, they wouldn't sell Rice this summer, although there is an acceptance that he will be moving on. However, they have last season's top 2 Premier League teams now fighting over their star player. Not only that, they are doing so at the start of the transfer window, meaning there is no time pressure on West Ham to accept a bid. If negotiations continue in the same vein, they will receive an offer that matches their valuation sooner rather than later. Arsenal will recognize that West Ham might be annoyed by their effort to sign Rice. However, they have to try and work out the best fee possible as they have other target in mind. I will be uploading daily Arsenal news, so keep your eyes on the channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. I appreciate your support. Peace out.